Can you see the screen?
Yes, the road to the promised land.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is for those who are on fire, thirsting for the living waters and hunger for Yahuwah's truth. But more importantly, they desire a new name written on a white stone and enter into the new Jerusalem. In Hebrews 4:1-2, it tells us, therefore, since a promise remains of entering into his rest, let us fear lest any of you seem to come short of it. For indeed the good news of the covenant was brought to us as well as unto them, ancient Yarushalem. But the word which they heard did not profit them, not having been mixed faith, trust, belief unto obedience in those who heard it. Let us therefore do our utmost to enter into that rest, lest anyone shall fall after the same example of disobedience. And this is according to Hebrews 4:11. We know that the way is narrow, and it's a very afflicted way, and the broad way is wide. I mean, the falsehood is wide. And so where we're going to go back, to Numbers here, where YAHUAH instructed Moshe. And this is in Numbers 9:1-3. And I'm laying the foundation right now. And YAHUAH spoke to Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year after they had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, saying, let the children of Yasharel also keep the Passover at his appointed season in the 14th day of this month at evening, and you shall keep it for an appointed season. This is important because they had already celebrated the first one. This is the second one. We see an aleph in the top right here. It's actually Messiah speaking right here. And he's telling Moses that I need you to be sure that you celebrate this feast going forth. It's part of the everlasting covenant. And so that is important because that's going to play out in our end time scenario with the Daniel 13:35 test, which we will go over in the PowerPoint. So I'm just, like I said, I'm laying down the foundation. We also, this is a warning for us too, because, a lot of us think that, we got it made. No, we don't. We got to strive to the end. We got to endure. We got to do our utmost. The more he gives us, the much more is required of us. So if we're not working to our own potential of what he's given us, and he knows what we can do because he tests us accordingly, is that we risk not making it in. Now, those who have been given much more is required. So we have to we don't worry about anybody else. We worry about us. What has he given us? Am I doing the best that I can? Every Shabbat should be, Father, I want to reflect on this week. How did I do? And how can I do better next Shabbat? And that's what the Shabbats are about. And so going forward, we should use that to reflect on how our week went with YAHUAH when we come to the Shabbat. In Psalms 95:9-11 is saying, when your fathers put me to the test, and this is Yahushua, to prove me though they saw my works, for 40 years I was grieved with that generation, and I said, they are a people who go astray in their hearts, and they do not know my ways, as I swore in my wrath, if they enter into my rest. Well, this is the problem that we're seeing everywhere, is that a lot of people, a lot of believers do not know his ways. They know of him, but they do not know him really. They do not know his ways, his path, his Torah, his word. But we pray for all of those people, our beloved ones, our families, that the veil be broken, and that their hearts be flexible to listen, and that the Ruach will prompt us and give us the right words, that the veil can be broken. And so entering into his rest is a metaphor for entering into the promised land. 1 Corinthians 10:4 confirms that it was Messiah Yahushua who was the rock. And YAHUAH, the Father, was not pleased with them, and they were overthrown in the wilderness. And so, beloved, even if we are gathered in the second Exodus, I need y'all to know that doesn't secure our position entering into his rest. And I'm going to show you why. In Ezekiel 20:36, he says, as I pleaded with your fathers, and this again, there's an aleph and a tav right here. That's Yahushua speaking. With your fathers in the wilderness, in the land of Mitzrayim, so will I plead with you. That's us. Says the Master YAHUAH. He says, and I shall make you pass under the rod and bring you into the bond of the covenant. This is the covenant of peace, the covenant of shalom. But this is where I'm telling you, this is where it can go bad for us if we're not, if we don't keep our head together and walk in that straight road. And I will purge out the rebels from among you, and those who transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, but they shall not enter into the land of Yahusha. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah. He's telling us right here in Ezekiel 20 that he will bring us forth out of the countries where we were scattered and where we live today. But we follow after the footsteps of ancient Israel. We will be killed by the serpents. We will be overthrown in the wilderness just like they were. And we will not enter into his rest. We will not enter into the land of Yahusha, the promised land. So will you enter the Yahuwah's rest? The choice is yours, beloved, to make it right now while you're alive and have a window of opportunity, because tomorrow might not come. It's uncertain, and it's becoming more uncertain every day. The final part of the foundation that I want to lay is Daniel 12. Because it's speaking to us today. This is the last generation, and it's speaking to us today, and it's speaking to us about what's going to happen. And these dates that he gives here must be aligned with the calendar that we keep. Daniel 12, it says, and I heard the man in linen, and this is Messiah, who was above the waters of the stream, and he raised his right hand and his left hand toward the Shamaim, and swore by him who lives forever, that it would be for an appointed times and a half an appointed time, that when the shattering of the power of the Kodesh people comes to an end, all these things would be finished. Okay, these are the 42 months. These are the 3.5 years in the tribulation period, which is not far from here. The shattering of the people, that means we're going to be given over to Hasatan, just like Job. We're going to be tried and tested, every one of us. We're here to give you the truth. We're not here to go along to get along. I'm here to tell you what the Ruach is telling us in the last days. And that is that we need to be going beyond and above. And wherever Messiah tells you to go, that's where we need to go. We just need to be on full fire for him, because the narrow way is very narrow. And so this is where we're at. Verse 8, and I heard, but did not understand. Then I said, oh, my master, what shall the outcome of these things be? Again, the master here is Messiah Yahushua. And he said, go away, Daniel, for your words are shut up and sealed until the time of the end. That book, beloved, it is opened already. And this is what's happening right now, is that he's revealing things to us that were not made known before. So we're starting to put the steps together. We're starting to put the pieces together of the puzzle. He's given it to us. And many shall purify themselves. This is where we're at. We need to purify ourselves. And they make themselves white and be refined by keeping the covenant, guarding his commandments. But the wicked shall act wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. But those who are wise shall understand. And I believe that all of us that are here have a firm understanding of where we're at, and who the ones that are not listening to us or what he's revealing to us, they think we're crazy. They think we're in a cult. Because we don't go along to get along. We speak what the Ruach has given us in our hearts. And from that time, the regular burnt offering is taken away, and the abomination that makes desolate is set up. There shall be 1,290 days. Baruch is he who waits and arrives at the 1335 days. But go your way to the end, and you shall rest, and you shall stand at your allotted place at the end of the days. Beloved, our works, our deeds, what we do right now will determine your allotted inheritance. And that's what we must be doing. We must be working as best as we can, witnessing to people as best as we can, as much as we can, because this will determine your allotted inheritance. We are to help bring in the fullness of the Gentile into covenant, meaning that our brothers in Christianity, they're not in covenant. They're not keeping the Shabbat. They're not keeping the feast. They don't know his ways. Just what we heard earlier. They did not know my ways. They love YAHUAH. but they have not been taught correctly. And our job as Koreshim, as the ones that have received the light, are going before them to bring him into the truth, to bring him into the Torah covenant. And that's our job to do, because until then, the blindness and the cold heart of Israel will not go away. Enoch here puts it all together for us. And he says here in Enoch 38 that the first thing Yahuwah is going to do, it says, when the congregation of the righteous shall appear. This is what's happening right now. Yahushua is preparing the congregation of the righteous. He is making us ready. He is preparing us. This is the remnant. The remnant is the man-child, the ones that are anointed in the spirit and power of Elijah. It says here, the sinners will be judged for their sins, and they shall be driven from the face of the earth. And when the righteous one, Yahushua, shall appear before the face of the righteous, those elect ones, their deeds are hung upon Yahuwah of hosts, and he shall reveal the light to the righteous and to the elect who dwell upon the earth. Where will the dwelling of the sinners be? And where is the resting place of those who denied the name of Yahuwah of the spirits? It would have been better for them not to have been born. This is some serious words right here. So the name is very, very important. It will become very important in the end times. There's going to be only one name, I believe, that's going to be able to overpower these demonic forces, these fallen angels, these demons. I truly believe in my research and in my studies is that Father has reserved angels and demons for the last days, and he's releasing them every so often as we enter into the tribulation. And so we must be ready and have our spiritual armor and be ready and understand what spiritual warfare is and know how to cast out demons and know how to prepare the area where we live to cleanse it in the spiritual. We have to know the spiritual laws. Satan knows the Torah. He knows the laws, and he twists them for his advantage. But we in Messiah are receiving understanding and wisdom, and that's what we're seeking. We're seeking to be able to withstand the wiles of the devil and his darts, his fiery darts, and to go out, because part of the Great Commission is to cast out demons. Those are the greater works that are coming that the remnant is going to do. Even Peter here, he confirms this. He says, indeed, if the Tzaddik, if the righteous are saved with difficulty, where will the man without Hamashiach appear? Where will the lawless and the sinner be? What will happen to them? Proverbs also confirms this. He says, the righteous shall be repaid in the earth. How much will the wicked and the sinner? So as we go through the tribulation and we are about to go into the second Exodus, it says here in Enoch 38 verse 3, when the secrets of the righteous ones are revealed, this is the restoration of all things, of the revealing of the true Messiah. Beloved, we are being revealed the authentic, the true Messiah, Yahushua. Yahushua, he's our husband. He shall judge the sinners, and the wicked ones will be driven from the presence of the righteous, the elect. This is the separation of the remnant sheep versus the goats. And from that time, those who possess the earth will neither be rulers nor princesses. They shall not be able to behold the faces of the Kodesh ones. For the light of Yahuwah host, that's Messiah, the Son of Righteousness with his wings, with the healing of his wings, has shined upon the face of the Kodesh, the righteous and the elect. And at that moment, the kings and the rulers shall perish, and they shall be delivered into the hands of the righteous and the Kodesh ones. And from this henceforth, no one shall be able to induce the name of Yahuwah of hosts to show them compassion, for their life is annihilated. The Gentiles that came before us that loved Messiah, but they were not in the truth. The book of Daniel was not opened. They're going to be living in the nations. So in the millennium, we're going to go out to the nations to witness to them, to bring them into the truth, to bring them into the covenant. We're always going to be working in the millennium. This is the reason why when Satan is released, a third of mankind will follow him again, because a lot of the people that are going to be in the Gentile nations will not receive the Torah, will not receive the covenant. Malachi 4:2 gives us a really good eyesight here, view of what is coming. He says, "For behold, the day is coming, burning like an oven, when all the arrogant and the evildoers will be stubble. The day that is coming shall be set ablaze, says Yahuwah of hosts, so that it will leave them neither root nor branch." The earth is going to start getting hotter and hotter and hotter. This is not what they're saying is climate. This is not climate change. This is Yahuwah doing it. But he's using the enemy to do it. "But those who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness shall rise with the healing of his wings. You should go out leaping like calves from the stall," meaning we're going to be overjoyed. So there's going to be a great day for us and a terrible, terrible day for the rest. And so that's what our prayer is, that our families be part of the inheritance, our allotted inheritance. We got a long way to go. We're just getting started. We know that the two witnesses is Moses and Elijah, and they're both right here in Malachi 4, where he tells us to remember the Torah of Moses, the statutes and the rules and the judgments, which he commanded all Yasharel, those that are grafted in, Romans 11. Before we get into the PowerPoint, this is the main point here. It says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the great and awesome day of Yahuwah, and he will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and strike the earth with a decree of utter destruction." Beloved, this is where we're at. That if we're in the spirit and power of Elijah and to preach the truth, that if we're not doing it as a unit, because most of Yasharel, most of the people in Yahuwah are not organized. They're all in different places. And they are not coming together as one. And what's happening is that Yahushua is telling us here that he will come and strike the earth with a decree of utter destruction, with a curse. And that is because we are not turning the hearts of the children to the fathers of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac. And these are our covenant fathers. With that being that foundation being laid out, does anyone have any questions?
I probably speak for, I know a lot of us here in the room, and not sure if anybody else on the call, but like nobody really came to any of us with this. It's like, for lack of a better way of understanding or explaining it, it's like we woke, some of us woke up one morning and it was like on us. And we took it to our spouses, and then, of course, we try to take it to some of our friends, and they reject. We take it to family members, they reject. I don't know, like, if anybody has any insight on how to potentially fill a commission, because we try and try and try. Even as a group, we try to reach out to folks, and it falls on deaf ears. And I know it's not our job to turn them. That's the Ruach's job. We're just supposed to introduce them, but how did people come into it to begin with if it wasn't put before them? Like myself, I wasn't approached by anybody with this. It just, I was looking for truth, hungry for truth, and I fasted, and things started coming to me. And some of the other people can say the same thing. Nobody came to them with it, right? And I'm not sure with you, Bro John, but
I think you're speaking for all of us here. Our DNA was awakened by Yahuwah. Okay, our DNA was awakened, and we just didn't fit in all of a sudden. We just what he was revealing to us didn't make sense to no one. I started doubting what he was revealing to me, but he spoke to me. He said, "I called you so I can teach you." Those words that he gave me, which were few words, but those words that he said audibly to me were enough to keep me the doubt, so I could suppress it. And that got me to where I'm at now. But yes, what I mean by us doing the Great Commission is that we need to just go like Noah. Like Noah was rejected for 120 years. How did he feel? I'm sure he felt very bad. But at one point, I don't know if you know this, but in the book of Enoch, it says at one point, the Father threw down a spirit, and this was a spirit of zombie. In other words, they started eating each other, and you can already see it already on the earth already. It's like people are becoming zombies. So it's like in the days of Noah. What we're doing here is we're in training still. We're in training and we're coming together as a unit, as one. We're flexible and we have a contrite heart. I'm here to learn from you. I'm not here just to teach. I'm here to learn from you. And I'm here to, I wash your feet, you wash my feet. That kind of understanding. But what we're really we're waiting on the fullness of the Ruach HaKodesh to come upon us. And that's what happened with the first believers in the first century, is that they waited on the Ruach to come, and then they were sent out with force and power. When I'm talking about the greater works, that's what I'm talking about, is that if we are true to him right now, and we're doing our utmost, and we're going beyond above and above with fire, and just truly seeking him with perfect heart inclinations, that we will be part of this remnant, that we will be part of the anointing of the Ruach and spirit and power of Eliyahu, and we will be receiving that power of the Ruach, the anointing. And then when we go out, praise Yah for that he will use us. And if he doesn't, that's fine. But it's upon his will, whatever he wants to do. But I want him to use me. I want to be used. And so, like Peter or Paul, when they were walking, their shadows were casting out demons. And he says, greater works will we do. So there's greater works that we're going to do in the tribulation, because remember, he says that there's going to be troublous times upon the earth since ever a nation was created, and never will be. So we don't really have an idea what's coming. It's going to be very bad. But at the same time, there's going to be supernatural miracles. It's going to be good for those truly who serve him, and it's going to be bad for those who don't. And that's what I'm seeing, is that we are in the preparation stages now, and ask him to fill us up with the fullness, that our cup run over with the Ruach HaKodesh. So when the hour of testing comes, that he will protect us through the Ruach HaKodesh, because he says, I will put you through a test that I know you can handle. If we're true to his commandments, no plague of Egypt will come upon us. We have to remember the promises that he made to us, that if we are true to his word, nothing will come upon us. 10,000 to the left shall fall, and 5,000 to the right, but we will be unscathed. Nothing will happen to us. We have to believe and trust that will happen, and not doubt, which is going to be, we're going to be tested to our ultimate. We're going to be tested very, very mightily. Yeah. Anyone else wants to add to that?
Well, what I was saying, actually what we were all saying is that we too knew that there was more to what we were dealing with when we were in church. We were never fully satisfied with what we were being taught. We would say that there's got to be more. There's more out there. There's more than what we're being taught. And as we began to seek, Yahuwah led us to where we met you.
Yes.
And so because we were seeking, Yahuwah directed our steps 100% every step of the way.
Amen.
So those that are hungry, they're out there. And Yahuwah is directing us to those that are questioning. What is it? There's something else. This isn't enough.
Right.
And as he's doing it, he's bringing all of us together.
Yes.
For his purpose, and it will be completed. And yes, I'm totally convinced we will be tested to our ultimate.
Yes.
But we have to make sure that our calling and election is sure in Yahuwah. And I appreciate the teaching that you're doing as far as our hearts being turned back towards Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yes.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. My reason for saying that is because one morning when Bobby and I were in our prayer time, Yahuwah gave the actual layout when you get ready to pray. As you begin your prayer, you put Yahuwah in his place ultimately first, but then you go and you remind him He is the Elohim of our fathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So every time we started praying now, is we call unto Yahuwah, Yahuwah Elohim, the creator of the Shalim, earth and man, the Father, the Elohim to our forefathers. And every time we've prayed that way, Yahuwah has answered.
Man,
that was it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Coach.
I know we're trying to get on with the PowerPoint. Could you explain a little further on your Daniel day count and why you don't believe it's started, or did you? I thought before you said it had started.
Okay, yeah. Well, no, I am going to clarify that today, and it's in the PowerPoint. What you're asking? Let's start with the PowerPoint. The road to the promised land. Shalom, Mispoka. As darkness is descending upon the earth, the light of truth, the power and the knowledge of the Ruach is also descending among his people from all four corners of the world. When we seek the timelines and the eschatology of end time events, we are to go to a credible source led by the Ruach HaKodesh. How Baruch are those who the Ruach has directed here today, that have had the spiritual eyes that see and ears that hear, for not all understand the magnitude of events that are taking place at this very moment in time. This is before the conflict in the Middle East. Those whose DNA has been activated to receive the Ruach of truth and believe in the Bible prophecy will know. For their eyes will see it clear as day, and their ears will be attentive to the signs of our time. So here I'm speaking about the DNA being activated. And why is this? Because to the remnant, to the elect, the true and authentic Messiah is being revealed to them in the restoration of all things. We are being revealed the authentic Messiah of the scriptures. This is something that was done by unmerited favor. We did not deserve this. Okay, so this is a presentation to those who thirst and hunger for the truth, so they can apply it daily in their daily walk. Those who had left and are those who are leaving Babylon in all her ways and embracing Yahuwah's ways, past and word and Torah instructions to Yarushalem to fulfill the Great Commission and mandate. Okay, the Great Commission and mandate is to go out to the nations and proclaim the covenant of the good news, but it's also to take the light of the Torah to the nations. Are they of mystery Babylon better than they of Zion? For Yahuwah has weighed the world in the balance. I spoke about this yesterday. We had a meeting on the chat, and I spoke about this yesterday. I'm going to put it up here for now. That the eclipse, it was called the lunar penumbral eclipse. Okay, and what happened is that you see the woman is right here. There's the feet of the woman, and by the feet of the woman is the sun, but you also have Mercury and Mars, and then there's the scales, the balance scales right here. Okay, and this was in the week of Shekinah. In our calendars, in our priestly cycles, the word shakan means permanent. So what's about to happen is permanent. And this is referring to the conflict in the Middle East. It's not going away. Okay. And so what's happening here is that we're being weighed in the balance. Yahushua is very upset. His patience is running out. He will start to vomit because this is also in the constellation of the Lamb, where the eclipse took place at, by his mouth, meaning that he will vomit those who are lukewarm and are not adherent. And this is why it's important for us to go tell them about the covenant. Those that are rejecting us, Yahushua himself, he's going to take care of them because they did not adhere to us. Remember, he told the Talmudim is to go to every city, and if they did not listen to his words, the words that he gave to them, that to dust their feet. And so that's a curse. Feet have to do with a curse. Now, that's what I'm saying. You see, this is the feet of the woman, the Betula, the virgin in the constellations. And when you see something in the feet, that means a curse. And so there's a curse coming up because of the balance. We're being weighed in the balance. And that's what I was talking about where would the sinners appear if the righteous are saved with difficulty? So all this is is being revealed right now in the heavens, in the constellations right now. Very, very important what's going on right now in the constellations. And then there's going to be another eclipse that will happen in March of 2024, which coincides with the Revelation 17 sign of the woman with clothed with the sun and the 12 stars. That's all coming together. And so the woman with the 12 stars of the Revelation, because I'm speaking about the woman, the bride, that the Revelation 17 sign is telling us that the 7 years of good of Joseph in Egypt began in 2017, and then 7 years later in 2024 the 7 years of bad will commence, and that's when the tribulation starts. And that's going to tie in with Daniel's test. And we'll pick it up from there in the PowerPoint. Okay. We will put Daniel 13:35 day to the test. We will start with the 1260 days, which are 42 months, 42 steps. Okay, because that's where we're going to be. We're in the wilderness and we're going to go through the 42 steps. This teaching is a pre teaching before we get into the 42 steps. The 42 steps were when they left Goshen until they crossed the Jordan and they entered the promised land. We're going to talk about the sign of the Son of Man. And we're going to talk about the gathering, the second Exodus. And we're going to talk about the covenant of shalom, the covenant of peace. And then we're going to talk about the 120th Jubilee year. And this is the end of the Pisces age, where the age of Aquarius begins, meaning where the seventh day begins, where the Millennial Kingdom begins. And the nation is born in one day. Enoch 62 verse 7 and 8. From the beginning, the Son of Man was hidden, and the Most High preserved them in the presence of his might. And he revealed them to the elect, to the remnant in the last days of this age. And this is where I get my information from. Enoch. He tells us that the Son of Man was hidden, and he's going to be revealed in the last days. And this is what's happening with us. And the congregation of the elect and the Kodesh shall be sown, and all the elect shall stand before him on that day. The prince of the congregation, the prince of princesses, and Messiah is known, the Sar Shalom. So Messiah Yahushua has been hidden from the beginning, and he was only revealed to Enoch, he was revealed to Noah, he was revealed to our fathers, which is Abraham, Yitzhak, and Jacob. Okay, he was revealed to Joseph, he was revealed to the main power players, and the prophets. He was revealed to them. The secrets of the Messiah is being revealed to us now. Malachi 3:2, but who may abide in the day of his coming, and who shall stand when he appears? For Yahushua, the messenger of the covenant, is like a refiner's fire. You see, beloved, those that are true to him, every knee will bow. Everyone will bow. We will bow, or bow means you bend your neck. But those that are the remnant will not fall to the ground. We will stand because we are the standing army. Everyone else, when he comes, will fall to the ground. It's like when Moses came and his face was shown like the sun, and they were like, oh, please hide your face. It's too much light. Well, the same thing's going to happen when he returns. He's going to be like the sun. No one will be able to see him. Only the remnant will be able to see him, and they will be able to stand. We will bow, but we will stand. Matthew 25, verse 14, 19, and 21. This is the parable of the talents. For the kingdom of Shamayim, the kingdom of heaven, is like a man going into a journey who called his servants and entrusted them to his property, his possessions, his covenant word. And after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he said, well done, good and trustworthy servant. You were trustworthy over the little things. I will make you ruler over many things. I will ordain, I will appoint, I will designate you. I will give you an allotted inheritance and a reward. So Messiah, when he came the first time, he left. He's speaking about himself. He left to prepare a place for us. In the Hebraic wedding, the son was to choose a wife, and then he was supposed to return to his father's house and prepare a room on the side of his house. So when the room was ready, the father would say, okay, go get your wife. This is exactly what he's doing. And so he is entrusted us his covenant word. And so that's what I was saying. Too much more is entrusted, much more is required. And we have to be a good and trustworthy servant to what he has given us. And so we will be rewarded our allotted inheritance according to our works. This is according to the parable of the sower, 30, 60, 90-fold. And which I've explained in the videos before, but this is how we are going to receive our allotted inheritance. The more works that you do with perfect heart inclinations, and they're counted good towards you, the more of a place you're going to be in the Millennial Kingdom, meaning you can live in the nations, you can live in the nation of YAHUAH, or you can live in Jerusalem, or you can live in the temple. And only the bride will live in the temple. Baruch are those servants who Yahushua finds awake. You also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Luke 12, verse 40. Now, in Revelation 3:3, Messiah Yahushua says, watch therefore, lest I come upon to you at an hour you do not expect. Okay, meaning that the remnant will know when he's coming. The remnant will have just like the first century, they knew, there was a remnant that knew when he was coming, and they went out to meet him with the palm branches. At the second coming, there will be some that will know when he's coming. No one is going to believe him, but yes, there will be some. Enoch chapter 108, 9-10. Baruch are those who love Yahuwah and love neither gold nor silver nor any of the good things which are in the world. Beloved, how many people are chasing after Bitcoin, wanting gold, wanting silver, wanting all these commodities? Those things are no good for us. If you do not have the mark of the beast, it doesn't matter how much gold or silver you have. You're not going to be able to make any transactions, no matter how much gold you have. So the gold or silver that you're trying to acquire, many people are trying to acquire right now, is not going to do them any good. But those believers gave over their bodies to torture. This is what I was talking about. We need to expect the unexpected in the tribulation that's upon us. Who, since they came into being, long not after earthly food, but regarded everything as a passing breath and live accordingly. Okay, I want to talk about that. The food that we're eating is not food, beloved. It is not the food that Yahuwah created. We have to have food, so we eat it, but we need to be more wise in what we eat. Some of this food is very dangerous to us, and it's killing us, and that's why so many people are dying of cancer. And that's why it's so important to pray for our food. But I myself given up red meat and chicken. We don't eat red meat and chicken once in a little while, a little turkey, and that's it. I feel much better. And Yahuwah tried them much. Okay, he tested them just like Job, and their spirits were found pure, so that they should baruch his name. Let's talk about that. So just because you call on the name doesn't mean that Yahuwah is well pleased with you and brings the light to his eyes. If you're not walking steadfast, if you're not walking in covenant, if you're not walking in the utmost respect and in love and going beyond and above, I mean, being in full fire for him, then you would be found pure. That then you should bless, you should baruch the name of Yahuwah. And all the baruchats destined for them, I have recounted in the books. Wow, this is huge right here. But this is for the elect. This is for those that walk in the narrow path. Again, here in Daniel, right here, Daniel 10, it says, many shall be purify themselves. So that goes with Enoch, and make themselves white. Make themselves, meaning in the book of Revelation says that the bride will make herself ready and be refined, tried and tested. So you're either purified in white. In the Father's eyes, you either love him or hate him. There's no gray area. You're either purified, you're sanctified, you're Kodesh, or you're wicked, you're lawless. He doesn't see it any other way. Let's talk about Daniel 12. Okay, so from the time of the offering taken away, abomination that makes desolate. I believe this is the mark of the AIB system, which is, according to my understanding of this, it'll come into full effect right at the halfway point of the tribulation. It's already making progress, and it's going to be available to people to take it, but it's not going to be implemented by force until the second half of the tribulation, or around that time. Baruch is he that waits and arrives, reaches at the 1335 days. Okay, that is what we're looking for. So the 1260 days, these are appointed times and a half a time. These are, but this is from feast to feast. This is not like what we thought before, like, 3.5 years in our Roman calendar. No. This has to do with maybe Passover to Passover, or unleavened bread to, another feast, or Sukkot to Passover. The 42 months, we know they're 1260 days, 3.5 years. So we have 1260. Then we have the 30 days. Okay, and then we have 1290 days. And then if you add 45 days, then you come to 1335 days. So there's a period of 30 days, and then there's a period of 45 days, and that's all going to work out in the calendar. Sometime after the 1335 day, we as a nation will enter into his rest and receive our allotted inheritance according to our works. If you are not doing, now is the time to start. Because Messiah does say, what will I find you doing when I come? The year of Jubilee, the last trump. So this is where I'm going to ask you, everyone, to forgive me, as I have been saying that we are in the tribulation. But actually, he showed me this year during the feast that I was wrong, that the Jubilee years actually start on Day of Atonement. And so they do not start at the beginning of the year. They start 6 months after. So with that being said, until this age ends and we start the 7th millennium, 50 times 120 is 6,000. The kingdom of heaven, the 7th millennium, will not start until the 120th Jubilee year ends. So that's what I'm going to talk about here. So please forgive me in my understanding as I'm learning too. Chapter 107, verse 1. And I, Enoch, saw written in the heavenly tablets. This is the scroll. This is the Masoret. That generation upon generation shall transgress. They will sing against the divine Torah instructions till a generations of righteousness arises, and transgression is destroyed, and sin passes away from the earth, and all manner of good comes upon it. And this is where we're at. Everything has to be destroyed before it becomes good. Just like the farmers were instructed to plant their crops for 6 years, and on the 7th year they were supposed to put it to fire and then not plant anymore, and then wait till the next year. And so this is similar to it. And so 1 Corinthians 15 expounds on this, and he says, behold, I will show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the shofar shall sound, and the dead shall rise incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, for this mortal must put on immortality. Okay, a lot of us, when we were learning and we were coming up, we were told that the last trump had to do with the Feast of Trumpets, but it doesn't. It doesn't. And that's a game changer, because it has to fit with the Father's end time events. And I'm going to show you why it's not. Here in Leviticus 25, verse 8 and 9, it tells us, you shall count 7 Shabbats of years, 7 times 7, that's 49. So that the time of the 7 Shabbats of years shall give you 49 years. Then you shall cause the shofar to sound at a broken blast on the 10th day of the 7th month, on the Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. You shall sound the shofar throughout all your land. Beloved, this is the last trumpet scripture, and it will confirm the 120 jubilees from Adam to the end of the age. So now you understand why I was incorrect in my assessment. What I did, I took that when Messiah was resurrected, when he died and was resurrected in 30 AD, I added 2,000 years and I came up with 230. And then I subtracted 7 years and I said, well, it's 2023, Passover 2023. That's when the tribulation started. But I did not take into account of the Jubilee years. And so please forgive me on that, but now I'm correcting it. So now things are going to be pushed a little bit. So tribulation will start on Passover this coming year, 2024, which coincides with the Revelation 12 sign and the next eclipse that we're about to have. That's going to come around March 2024. When the 7 years of bad, as was with Joseph, will occur. The 7 years of bad is referring to the tribulation. So let us continue with Leviticus 25. And you shall consecrate as Kadosh the 50th year and proclaim freedom throughout the land to all its inhabitants. And it shall be a jubilee for you when each of you shall return to his property. To each of you shall return to his mishpachah. A jubilee shall that 50th year be unto you. You shall not sow, neither reap that YAHUAH which grows on itself in it, nor gather the grapes in it of your vine undressed. For it is the jubilee, and it shall be Kodesh unto you. The last jubilee year of 120, I believe, is going to be from Day of Atonement 2030 to Day of Atonement 2031. That is going to be the 120th jubilee from Adam to that time, which will conclude the 6,000 years and will close out the end of the age, which is Pisces, and we will enter into the new age of Aquarius. And this is not new age. This is in the constellations. So that brings a new perspective, and everything that I've been learning here recently, all is now tying in all together. So now I'm going to show you a chart. The jubilees from Adam to the end of the 42 months. The 122 jubilees exactly. So Adam sinned when he was 30, and Messiah's Passover was in the year 30 AD, according to the Roman calendar. But it was actually 4,000 years after Adam sinned. And this was what threw me off. I added 2,000 years and I came up with 2030, not thinking about the jubilee years. So now the 7th day will start after 2031, and then we will go 1,000 years. This is the 7th day, and then the 8th day will be when the New Jerusalem comes down and when the new heavens and the new earth will be built. The first jubilee started here. So we have 2 counting systems. We have the priestly counting. That's how I came up with the tribulation starting in 2030. But we need to go with the Jubilee count. The Jubilee count is the one we need to really focus for the end of this age. 50 times 80 is 4,000 years. That's 4 days. 50, which is the Jubilee, times 40 Jubilees is 2,000 years. 2 days. 6,000 years is the end of Pesach, and that's why I thought that was the tribulation. The end of the 100th Jubilee will be in 2031 on Yom Kippur, the 50th year from 2030 to 2031, as I had mentioned. Hosea 6:2, after 2 days, Yahushua will revive us. He will restore us. And this is what's happening right now. It's not going to be like from one day to the next. It's a transition. It's a period. So the period of restoration has begun, and that's why our DNA was awakened. And so we're coming into the truth, and we're going to continue to come into more truth until we are resurrected, and then we're fully restored after the second Exodus. And in the third day is talking about the Millennial Kingdom. In the third day, he will raise us up at the end of the 120 Jubilee, and we shall live in his sight. So after 2031, somewhere around this time, he will gather us and we will live in his sight. When he gathered us at the second Exodus, he's going to take us back to Mount Sinai, and he's going to make a covenant of shalom, a covenant of peace, like Ezekiel 20 said. And then we will go through the 42 steps. We will go through the 42 stops. We will go to the 42 stops, which means that we're going to be tested and we're going to be proven. This testing is not going away. We're being tested right now. We're going to be tested throughout the tribulation. And when he gathers us, we're going to be tested once more again. So this testing is going to continue. And that's to refine us, and that's to mold us, and that's to make us perfect. And the reason that he's doing that is that, and it's going to continue in the Millennial Kingdom too. He's going to refine us, and he's going to purge us, and he's going to make us ready. And the reason for that is because we are going to be presented to the Father YAHUAH, and only Yahushua, he's the only one who has ever seen the Father and lived. No one has ever seen the Father but him, and that's according to his own words. So that is the plan, is that we all meet the Father. And to meet the Father, we got a lot of work to do. We all have a lot of work to do, and the Messiah is going to finish the work in the millennium, and that's when he's going to fulfill the Abrahamic covenant that he made with him, because it has never been fulfilled until we go into the millennium, and he will then fulfill the covenant with him and with David. He will be king, sovereign, and he will be high priest over the 12 tribes of Yarushalem in the order of Melchizedek. So now we're going to talk about the tribulation. So the tribulation will begin Pesach, not 2023. Wait to the mark, the 1260 days will be 27. And this is according to our understanding if we're in the correct year of 2023. And so from 2024 to 2027, the great reset will happen. This is what they call the dark winter. I don't know if you heard this term, but the elites said the dark winter is coming. Well, dark winter means the 4 horsemen of Revelations will be on full force together during the tribulation. That's what that means. And then after the 2027, the woman will go into the wilderness. It's a spiritual wilderness. It's not the physical wilderness yet. And that will be a time of testing there, where the dragon will throw water. It will be like a river of water, but the earth will come and save us and protect us, those who keep the commandments of YAHUAH and have the testimony of Yahushua. The 1260 days will end at Pesach 2031. And then it will start the 7th day. This is the verse that I love to use a lot, because it's telling us that after 2 days, after 2,000 years, he will revive us. He will restore us. And on the 3rd day, he will raise us up. He will gather us. We will be caught up in the air. We will be resurrected. And then we shall live in his sight after 2031. In 2029, it starts on Yom Teruah. Where there's a sign in the sky. There was a sign in the sky. There was a constellation there that showed us that there was a sign in the sky. And then at the end of the 1260 days, this was Passover. This was the first month on the 14th day. And then the 1290 days will come in on the second Passover. Only the calendar that we're using, the Zadok calendar, this is the only calendar where these dates actually fit. No other calendar will it fit. And I have done a lot of research. So the first date starts on Yom Teruah, and then 1260 days later, we land on Passover. And then 30 days later, we land on the second Passover on the second month, on the 14th day. Then we have the 45 days. And there's a 10-day mystery here. There's a lot of mysteries in scripture about the 10 days. We know that Messiah ascended 10 days prior to the Mount of Olives. And we also know that between the Feast of Trumpets and Day of Atonement, there's the 10 days of awe to prepare, to get ready. Remember also in the book of Daniel, the Hebrews, they did not eat the food of what everyone else was eating. And that was for 10 days, I believe. The 10 days there plays a big part there. And also in the book of Revelation, it speaks about 10 days also. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it does mention 10 days. And then we will arrive from the 1290, from 2:30, we will arrive at Shavuot. From the second Passover, we will arrive at Shavuot. So we started at the 1200. This is our starting point, Yom Teruah, and then the next it will be 1290 days, which we will end on Pesach on our calendars. And then at the halfway point of the tribulation is the Sukkot. There's another way that I did it so you can understand it. It's in the calendar itself. Let me show you that. Okay. So we start the count right here. And then 1260 days, we ended up here. And then 30 days later, this is the 1260 days here. Okay, 30 days later is the second Pesach right here. And then 45 days later, we end up in Shavuot. So now let's do that. So we count from here 45 days. And there's Shavuot right here. So on this calendar, the Daniel 1335 test, it works. So Daniel was in the same calendar that John the Revelator was on the same calendar. The Dead Sea Scrolls, Sons of Zadok, were on the same calendar that we're under, and that John the Revelator was under, and that Daniel was under, and that Yahushua gave to King David. So this is the calendar of us. This is the priestly calendar that we should all be keeping. On the left are the ministerial weekly cycles. Brother Jack, when you see this next video that I did, you'll understand what these priestly cycles mean, and why they're so important, okay? Because they fall in perfect dates. Yes, sir.
No, I say, yeah, I'll sure catch that next video.
I'm just blessed that you guys were able to make it. That was it. That was it. End of the PowerPoint.